Okay, so now we're going to move to another discussion with 3 different companies. So there's going to be, so it's going to all be all online. There's going to be Beth, David, and Philip from Abstar, from Plastic Bank, and from Henkel. So I see you there. Great, perfect. So first, maybe I'll start with you, Beth. Well, first, I know that Abstar designs a certain product. But first, before starting, what I would like to have is you explain, because you are in the circular, at the head of a circular at Abstar. Explain a bit what Abstar does, because it designed dispensing solutions for beauty and care, but not everybody knows about it. And also, there's another point, because there's a lot of questions about the use of plastic, of metal, of plenty of other materials too, like pumps or other stuff. And that's what I would say, the other question behind it's how do you innovate to tackle this issue? So really, first a few words, and then after to move on to tell you about that.
Sure, thank you, Dimitri, for having me. It's good to see you. So first of all, let me talk a little bit about Abstar. We are a global leader in drug delivery, consumer dispensing, and active packaging solutions for not only beauty, personal care, and home care, but also for food and beverage and for pharma. So simply said, the way that I like to explain this is that we're the company that actually helps you get the liquid and the gel and the powder out of the products that you're using every day. Our customers are world's leading companies and their brands like L'Oreal, Nestle, Unilever, and GlaxoSmithKline, just to name a few. In addition to our eco-design processes, which are very important to us, there's also often a positive impact to our delivery solutions. In particular, I'm thinking of our pharmaceutical products. So with regard to the, I assume what you're talking about with concerns in the plastics industry, specifically probably referring to recyclability and the full package, especially where there's mixed materials in that full package. So as Abstar works towards a more circular plastics industry, we've made commitments to increase the recycled content of our materials that are going into our products, to increase the reusability, the compostability, and the recyclability of our products as well. So with regard to materials going into our products, we're looking at, for example, post-consumer recycled resins. A challenge for us on that, though, is that a lot of our resins need to be food grade. And that's why we're investing in companies like PureCycle Technologies and other innovations like that that can bring ultra pure recycled resins into the products. As for recyclability, a lot of our products in the food and beverage and beauty and home industry actually already are recyclable according to the Ellen MacArthur protocols. But this can be disrupted depending on what type of bottle or vessel our customer, the consumer goods company, actually pairs with our dispensing solution.
Yeah,
so
see, you've got one example
there. Yeah, so where we can help there, and this is a huge announcement, is on that monomaterial. We just heard about that in the last session. Abstar actually just recently launched Future, which is a pump that's entirely made of polyethylene, so it's entirely monomaterial. That certainly helps with the recycling process. Other generations of pumps tend to have mixed materials, sometimes with a metal spring. So this is a huge thing for us. So, very happy to have this. So again, I think it's imperative that, just like what was said in that last session, that all companies are coming together along the entire value chain to make sure that they're doing their part and contributing their expertise for that more circular economy.
Yeah, I think what's I know that we hear a lot of things about plastic, we should get rid of plastic, maybe we'll talk about after, but the point is, well, for companies, it's one step after the other, and that we need also to change industrial processes, which takes time, costs a lot of money, and it's true that first real problem in all those packaging is the fact that there's many different materials. At the end of the day, you can't even reuse it and recycle it because you don't know in which bin, or it's always the same bin that it goes to, and you can't reuse it and do some other things. So the fact that you have monomaterial, it's at least the first step that helps really to recycle, which is a good thing. David, I mean, we discussed a lot, and what's also interesting is that we see plastic really usually as a problem, and you're transforming and you're giving it a new sense. I mean, you're helping companies to move from damaging ecosystems to building regeneration, and especially in poor environments or poor areas. First, I mean, could you explain a bit more for what is regeneration and how do you make it possible? And just before, maybe explain also, of course, what is Plastic Bank?
Thank you, and hello everybody from Vancouver, and hello Philippe and the other panelist. The Plastic Bank is a global chain of bank branches for the poor, where everything in the bank branch is available and immediately transferable using plastic garbage as the input. Not only is there a bank account, a sense of savings account, but immediacy to pay for school tuition, medical insurance, Wi-Fi, cooking fuel, and everything else. We've created a monetary standard using plastic garbage as the input. All that plastic we sell to amazing companies like Henkel, who take that material and put it back in their packaging. Not just closing the loop in the circular economy, but truly creating value in the material, having people view it a little bit differently. I'd ask everybody in the audience, it's an important discussion, if every piece of packaging that you were to see, or every bottle you were to see, or every lotion product that you were to see was worth €5, how many would we see in the environment? How many would be in the ocean? Well, we know none. And inside of that, we can also determine that it has nothing to do with the material. We want to vilify plastic, but it's us that we need to look at. I'm inspired by, single type materials within packaging. It's beautiful. More has to be done in the world. But really, when we look at the material as money, I think many other opportunities can exist. Also, I would love to be able to contribute in the knowing that nothing that we are doing is against the laws of physics. Creating a single type material package is not against the laws of physics either. Returning all of the material in the world back to a usable form as well, not against the laws of physics. It's just creative thinking that makes it so. And inside of that, it's partnerships that bring it to life. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, and we discussed about it with Frédéric. Giving value to things that don't have before any value, and well, first,
they do have value.
It gives sense.
Value. It's about revealing the value.
Yeah.
And there's already value inside of it. We don't have to give it value. We just get to look at it a little bit different and go, oh, there is already value inside of it.
Yeah.
And for our collector communities in the world, when they get to use it as school tuition, that's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, and the fact that, in fact, you're transforming this value. Because, as you said, I mean, it's like hidden value, but it's really transforming it to make it something different. And it goes, well, directly after with Philippe. I mean, if you can, of course, explain a bit more what Henkel is doing in terms of sustainability, but also how you work with Plastic Bank, because I would say emerging countries suffer much more from waste than Western countries. I mean, we see, we got all those images in head that we see in certain number of countries with a lot of litter, and which is really dramatic in terms of pollution, for instance. And I understand that with Plastic Bank, in fact, you're using, well, plastic to provide education, health services, insurance, and also create a circular economy, in fact, in those countries. So how do you manage to do that?
Yeah, thanks, and hello, everybody. Happy to pick it up from here, and greetings to Vancouver. Hi, David. So what we are doing and what we have been doing was Plastic Bank as one of their first major founding partners back in 2018. We are investing in infrastructure and ecosystems together with Plastic Bank to provide a secure and credible framework for the informal waste picker community that is already out there, yeah? and providing a premium for the collected material that then can be exchanged for goods to make an everyday living for the world's poorest. Yeah? And this is not only limited to money, but is really going way beyond when it comes to medication. And we talked about it. School tuition is one thing. I mean, imagine that you are turning primary schools into collection centers for garbage waste, where just the kids can bring their family waste. And by this, just paying for their tuition fees. I mean, that is really a super powerful concept. And at the same time, you're really helping to clean up the environment. And since we have started in Naidi back in 2018, we extended also our cooperation towards North Africa just recently, where we will be developing Egypt as a country from scratch. I mean, it's also pretty close to Europe. So moving towards the Mediterranean, we know the River Nile is one of the most polluting rivers we are having as well. So it's not only Southeast Asia. And by this, we will invest into infrastructure. We will build more than 400 collection centers and intend to recover more than 5,000 tons of material per year once this is up and running. And more importantly, I mean, besides creating those infrastructures, is creating the demand and the offtake for social plastic to ultimately use this material in our very own products. So that is the ultimate goal. And as we have been progressing over the last years, we have been truly moving from lighthouse to mass and scaled up also our internal social plastic consumption within Henkel, within our brands, significantly. So it's really about creating also a supply chain for FMCG companies to really make this material available. So we have not only been able to collect and close to 100 million bottles by our direct impact together with Plastic Bank, and help to capture them from the environment, but we have actually produced tens of millions of bottles already containing social plastic as a dedicated segregated material. And as an example, I mean, we have switched our naturally certified organic flagship brand Nature Box just recently last year towards 100% social plastic for all bottle containers that we are using there. And we are further rolling out that concept across additional brands, across additional geographies, in order to implement thousands of tons of social plastics in the years to come. And we are really looking at it as an incremental material stream that is actually serving also towards our targets. Yeah,
I mean, it's really, again, it's how you're transforming waste into really a benefit for all of us and for all the circle. Also, what's interesting is that, and it's one big issue in circular economy, is the business model. And how do you manage to put together kind of a business model? When I mean business model, I mean something that you don't only lose money, because if you always lose money, the problem is that then it's not, I mean, over time it's complicated. But really bringing that, and to bring this to people that need the most. I have a question for you, the three of you. There's plenty of innovations in packaging, and how do you check that it is valuable not only for the consumer, but also for the environment? And I know, for instance, Beth, you have some examples, but certainly also David, also, and that you had also some answers about that. Go ahead.
Yes, so in Abstar, our approach to innovation is often that we're offering our know-how, if you will, as a service. So I like to call this sustainability as a service. And we've long been using, as I mentioned before, eco-design principles when we're designing our products. We are members of a lot of organizations like Ellen MacArthur and World Business Council for Sustainable Development that are piloting or creating the standards and piloting tools to help measure standards around not only environmental eco-design, but also social impact of products. So we typically get involved early in the development of those tools in order that we can first pilot the tools to make sure, they make sense, and then help apply the tools in the pilot program to some real world example as we're designing something for our customers. So what we can offer as a service is this sustainability know-how and give our customers, so the Henkels and the L'Oreals and the GlaxoSmithKlines, more information, not only on environmental, but also on social impacts.
I heard you told also about you're not sure if it was going to work or not, but it's a connected bottle, I think Bibo. What is your approach about that? Can you explain a bit more?
Right. So another part of, I guess, what we would say our innovation approach is that we like to try to figure out if there's new and up and coming technologies, especially in the sustainability realm, that might potentially take hold. Just to get involved in those early. An example of that would be with TerraCycle's Loop program. We actually invested in that program early. Also with MIWA's reusable, refillable. And we did get involved early. Actually, we were part of the design team to help with the Rebo, which is a connected reusable water bottle. It's a connected bottle. So users can actually use the bottle to understand how much they are intaking as far as water is concerned. But the tracking of the water also has a social aspect in that as consumers are consuming water and then they're tracking the water consumption, there's a part that is sending a donation to Plastics Bank based off of how many, if you will, single-use water bottles they're replacing by using this Rebo bottle.
Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting. I mean, there's two things. Of course, what's interesting is that there's plenty of innovation and trying to find also if it fits or not, if it's sustainable or not. For instance, when we have a connected bottle, you have some drawbacks because it's connected, of course. On the other side, it can bring also information that is important to maybe to make it more sustainable. So it's good to, I would say, experiment that. I don't know if Philippe or David, did you have any ideas about how to check if an innovation or a product is valuable either for a customer or for the environment, and both, ideally?
I think it's really both ends, yeah, that you need to cover here. So I mean, what we are usually doing, we are following our, let's say, guiding principles to incorporate materials from sustainable sources, yeah, and providing a smart packaging design to finally close the loop. Yeah? So this is what is actually guiding us, and all of that to actually develop packaging solutions that are creating the least possible footprint for the environment, independent of the material choice here, yeah? And at the same time, we are always trying to keep the circularity as the overarching theme in mind, as a kind of driving principle, but also considering the waste pyramid, yeah, that everybody knows, yeah, that actually starts with prevention, followed by reduction, and then reuse, yeah, and then only comes recycling. And I think it's also pretty much linked. I mean, there's so much stuff coming on the market when it comes to packaging innovation, and you really need to sort it out. And I think we also need to go beyond those classical indicators like LCA, yeah, but also rather focusing on additional elements that are putting a stronger focus on how a packaging is performing at its end of life stage, and how we can keep such materials in the loop as long as possible in order to come to real circularity. And this is how we are approaching it from a packaging development perspective.
Yeah, David, I think you wanted to say something?
I think that we need to be aware that the next generation of consumers is looking for something different. They're looking for us to go past sustainability. They're not looking to see if we're going to be doing less damage. They're looking to see how we're going to repair the damage that's been done. We're powerfully entering the regeneration economy. And so I would ask everyone, is the package you're producing repairing the damage that's been done or adding to the damage that's been done? It's a very simple paradigm to view your decisions by.
Yeah, which means that, again, we need to measure what are the positive impacts and also what are the negative impacts. And I'll ask you, in fact, based on that also, well, I know it's a bit a tricky question, but to which extent do you think that brands should contribute to plastic depollution? And I will be a bit more precise. For instance, do you think that there would be a way in the future to ban completely the use of plastics, even if they are recycled? I don't know if either Bev, David, or Philip, you can answer to this question.
I'll start. I think what David said initially in his introduction is exactly how I would put this. I think that plastics has gotten a bad rap just because we don't necessarily have the recycling infrastructures. Not all people have the awareness to recycle where it is available. But the way that I think of this is I actually do see it as money. I see it as a commodity, and that we need to switch the mindset of people, everybody, not just the packaging producers, but everybody along the entire value chain, to see it as a commodity so that we're all working together to make whatever contribution we can. So for Abstar, it's, on the part that we make, the pump, to make sure that everything is working towards that circular economy. So it's viewed as a commodity that just keeps on fueling the economy over and over again, and not as a waste. I don't see banning something that can be reused.
Okay, what about you, David or Philip?
I think
maybe to add on that. Sorry, go ahead. Now you first, David.
Yeah. I think we're beyond the tipping point. There's 10 trillion kilos of plastic on the earth. And if we ban the material or replace the material, we'll remove all economic value in the material that's already here, profoundly exacerbating the problem. We're at the precipice where we need to increase the value in recycled content, decrease the value in virgin content. There's 10 trillion kilos of plastic on the earth. We continue to produce more, which is ridiculous. Let's go mine everything and put it back into circularity as it deserves to be.
I don't know, Philip, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I mean, I can only echo what was already said. And I mean, as a brand owner, of course, we do have a responsibility here because we are the ones also, creating and specifying, in the end. And by this also triggering markets, creating markets. Will there be a packaging future without plastic solutions? I do not believe, because I mean, plastic, we all know, is having many benefits, and also linking back to what I said earlier, we also need to take into consideration the total footprint. Yeah, so moving from one material towards the other, that might not be, just for the sake of getting rid of plastic, might not be the more sustainable solution here. So I think there is a future for plastic, certainly, but it's a way we are dealing with the material. It's an unmanaged material class. We need to reveal the value that is already having, and by this, I think we can all contribute. And I think in the matured markets, I think this is less of a problem, because even if we manage in our regions here to get to a let's say perfect circular economy with super high recycling quotes, we also know when you look at the projections and the forecast that the growth of plastic is coming from the emerging markets, and we are facing a triple ×3 production until 2050. So we probably reach 1 billion tons of plastic in 2050, and for this we need solutions, because the material will occur in areas where the management of such waste is really way beyond what we are used to have here in our first world bubble, let's say.
Yeah, I think it's not an easy question, because it's true. On one side, this is my opinion, we need to reduce drastically the use of plastic and try to find, that's what we found with Ruinart, solutions that don't use plastic. There are some areas that does make sense and where it's certainly more sustainable than other materials. And in that case, make it as reusable as possible. So again, what we need is really to, and that's really important, measure and find out what are the best, and also to be, I think, open about what's the issues that each company has. Well, I want to thank you really a lot for this panel. Thank you, Philip, Beth, and David, for this. I mean, a great discussion with you. And hope to see you soon. And there's going to be some other events after and some other talks. So thanks a lot.